Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper.io, and I'm here today with Micah Green, the founder of Maidbot. Good afternoon, Micah.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
Thanks for joining us today. And what part of the country are you in?
So we're based in Austin, Texas, so nice and sunny right now.
Yeah,
Just great.
same here. But it's sunny in most places right now, except for where there's a hurricane going through part of the country, right?
Yeah, I saw that for sure. And definitely getting toasty here as well. So I originally grew up on the East Coast, but getting still acclimating to the heat of Texas during
Yeah.
the summer.
And you're in the middle of Texas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That does get hot there. So can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Yeah, totally. So grew up in Maryland, and basically have been starting companies since a really young age. So much smaller scale than what we're doing today, but knew from a really early age, this is what I love to do, is building something from nothing, and fell in love with that. And that's why I'm here. So wanted to, pursue entrepreneurship and build companies, and then did robotics actually as part of a robotics competition. And that was my first real exposure into the robotics world. So saw that and was really excited by the idea that robotics is the next wave, just like personal computing of the 70s and internet of the 90s. So we see robotics as being that for the 2020s. And that said, I wanted to continue down the more of the business route and entrepreneurship route. So I ended up going to Cornell University and focusing on hospitality management, where I came up with the idea.
Interesting. So do you have any, just from the robotic standpoint, any mechanical engineering background, or do you have other people that handle that part of
Yeah, so during the competition, I learned C++ and Python and did the software side, software engineering side. But nowadays, definitely have experts on that front, and do not touch that at all.
Yeah,
So
leave it to the experts. That's a good idea. And
totally.
you do the business part of it. That's what you're good at.
Yep.
So what has been your experience with remote employment, both as an employee, which I don't even know if you ever were an employee, or as an employer?
Yeah, for sure. So technically, I mean, I've done internships before, but this is my first real job, I'd say, is starting this company. And for us, we build robotics, right? So with that, it's hardware oriented. It's been very physical, space oriented, and using 3D printers, using specific testing setups and rigs. So it was very heavy on that front. But of course, the world has changed drastically the past 2-3 months. So have we've adapted to that. So I'd say, we still have a couple of hardware engineers and mechanical engineers that go into the office and do testing, do certain sort of prototyping, and keep their distance and are very safe. But overall, the entire team has shifted to remote. So right now I'm calling in from my house, from my bedroom. And it's been great. I mean, I'd say overall, we've been really productive as a team, very communicative. There's definitely that piece of physical connection that's missing, but we've been rocking it, and really happy with the setup right now. So right now we're actually thinking as a company that in the future we'll be even more flexible, and we really want people to set themselves up and their lifestyle up for success and live the life they want to. So we're rethinking that as a structure for the company moving forward.
And are all of your employees in Austin, or are they scattered throughout the country or the world?
Yeah, so most of which are in Austin. I'd say all of them except we have a part-time CFO who's based in North Carolina. So, yeah.
Interesting, yeah. So, and it's interesting, part-time, not so hard to find that particular skill set in any part of the country, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. So, and certain positions are more conducive to working from home than others, but like that one more on the finance side has been great and has worked out well. So
and you're not a public company yet, so you don't have to do quarterly calls and all that stuff, right?
yeah, exactly. Not yet, almost.
Yeah, hopefully someday.
One day in the near future.
Yeah. So what do you think is the future of remote employment, and what do you think can be done differently to make it more effective?
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of future work, I really see this as being not just a fad, but something that's going to completely shift the landscape of the workplace in the US and around the world. I think people are going to be able to work not just from home, but from anywhere. This idea of really being able to explore. Some people are more nomadic and want to move around. Some people just want to be set up somewhere else. So I was joking with some of our team members like a week or two ago about how somebody's interested in moving to Colorado, and one person was thinking about one day wanting to move to like New Zealand or something. So it sounds crazy, 3 months ago sounds very crazy, but to us, we see that as being okay. And there's definitely overlap related to the time of certain meetings and communication. But overall, I think the general landscape is going to be much more open to that,
Yeah.
for sure. So, yeah.
And I can tell you from experience, I've had a team in Sydney, Australia before. I'm in the West Coast.
Oh, wow.
I think it was 4 o'clock our time was when 4 p.m. was when their day started.
Yeah.
So actually every day I got to talk to them.
Yeah. So no, it's pretty reasonable. And then you kind of have you have multiple shifts in
Yeah.
that sense too. So which could be actually more productive too. So
Yeah. So New Zealand shouldn't, I mean, for you, I think you're 2 hours behind us. So it'll be 6 o'clock your time.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not so bad.
Yeah, no, totally reasonable. So, and yeah, we actually do manufacturing in Asia. So we've, gotten used to, or some of our team members at least have gotten used to that time zone difference as well. And it's
Yeah.
been different, but it's worked out. And, we just adapt to
Yeah.
that.
That's a little harder. Most of Asia is about 15 hours difference from us.
Yeah.
You 17, right?
Yeah.
Which actually
Yeah, I
would
think it's about 17.
overlap for your morning, actually, or your
Yeah,
afternoon for their morning, I think.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. So what is the story behind Maidbot? What got you started, and who are your customers? What do you build? All that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So as I mentioned, I went to the Cornell Hospitality Management School. And through that, we actually have to work in the hotel. There's a hotel on campus, and we have to work in different facets of operations. So I worked as a front desk agent, a bellhop, and then a room attendant or a housekeeper. And it was through that experience, as an 8-hour shift, but within a couple of hours, my mind was blown because of how broken it felt. And, I really wanted to dig deeper. It was really intriguing to me that it was literally the same operations that this property has been doing for over 100 years. So was, really intrigued by that, by the stagnation of the operation, and saw a big opportunity there. So started interviewing room attendants, started interviewing management and alumni from the school, and realized there were huge issues around the labor side of things. So, before COVID hit, there's about 1 million open positions in hospitality alone, just in the US. And then that was, that transcends beyond the US. It's all over the world, even in China. They have labor issues and shortages there. So, first was, there's this labor crisis, and then it's the most expensive variable cost at these commercial real estate areas, in hotels or beyond, office space, airports, other types of real estate. And then also, they have really high rates of injury. It's a very difficult job, very demanding physically. And it's repetitive motions all day, almost every day of the week. So because of that, you face a lot of issues with like back pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain, and room attendants actually have the second highest rate of injury in the entire private sector, and the first highest in the entire service sector. So all of those things combined, realized, all right, this is broken. There's not much innovation going on here. So really saw it as a great place to bring robotics, and started brainstorming of what we can do. And as we talked about earlier, I was inspired by the Jetsons, by Rosie from the Jetsons, and really one day, want to build a humanoid robot, but see this as a really good opportunity in the interim to focus on a very specific use case. So our current product is focused on commercial floor cleaning of anywhere from hotels to airports to assisted living facilities, and being able to leverage that same technology across the board.
Very interesting. And so it wouldn't be something that you would use at home. It's more industrial strength than that?
Exactly. Yeah. So focused on the commercial use case.
All right. Very cool. So how did you incorporate the idea of remote at your company? Because it sounds like, you were humming along there just fine until COVID. And then all of a sudden, you have to go remote, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So it hit very quickly. I'd say back in early March is when we realized we really needed to do something. And then City of Austin, shut down pretty quickly, and it's in effect for, I believe, the next week. But, we're at least going to stay set up like this through June, maybe even beyond. And it was pretty quick. I think, on the software side, they can do that work from anywhere, and they're working, during the night sometimes, or on the weekends, whatever it might be. So there's that flexibility, and they already knew they could do that. Some of them do need robots and physical hardware for testing. So they just brought those robots home. So, I could do that pretty easily because of the smaller form factor.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the hardware side, it adapted based on a kind of ad hoc basis. So most of our team is remote, but then there are certain team members that do literally need to be in the office from time to time. So, but overall, we adapted like our daily scrums. We changed our all hands meetings from biweekly to weekly, just to get more of that interaction. We set up a virtual happy hour, which has been great. And then, people are communicating often and using Slack and video conferencing and that's definitely a concern, right? When you go into remote work is that communication. But for us, it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It sounds like the pandemic didn't really affect you from an operational standpoint, but I mean, it hit your target market hard, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So can you expand on that? I mean, that had to cause some roadblocks and challenges that you didn't expect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So with hotels and office space as our core, as our starting core client base, both of those, completely shifted given the fact that the physical world has shifted. So, I've asked myself and been asking the team a lot of like, what is in our control? What can we be focused on and what can we be doing that's in our control? We don't know when all of these properties are going to reopen, right? So to get more specific, all of the current deployments that we have, those properties are literally shut down temporarily, given what's going on. So they're all on hold, and then the sales cycle has slowed down for sure too. There. So we started thinking about, okay, where are areas that still require this sort of work and are essential, are open, and that's where we started speaking with assisted living facilities and healthcare, some hospitals, which we've seen a lot of interest in and are kind of moving down that path. So yeah, definitely hit roadblocks and still see hospitality and commercial real estate as really core pillars for us moving forward. But in the meantime, in the short term, see big opportunities. And it was kind of this forcing function to think of what are other areas that still need our solution. And it's like an oxygen to them, like they need it every single day, but they're open and, need it today versus in 2-3 months, right?
And it's interesting because you have a machine that does the work, so you literally don't have the issue of your product having any social distancing. The machine, multiple machines can be working, one floor, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting because first of all, the actual standard of cleanliness has gone up, right? So I joke that my aunt is a germaphobe, and she's always been on. But now everyone's kind of getting to her level in terms of that sanitization standard. So that's a big piece. And then you mentioned minimizing that human-to-human interaction is another big piece. And then still that push for reducing operating expenses as well. So to us, those are problems that are exacerbated by what's been going on and actually help with the story of what we're building and then future products, derivative products we can build to help support that. So yeah, it's interesting when you can reframe it in terms of how consumer behavior and just general public behavior is shifting.
Yeah, interesting. So there's companies like Gaper that help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups like yourself. And now that you've had a taste of remote development, how important do you think that will be going forward as you scale, to maybe use some of these services, remote development teams in other parts of the world?
Yeah, for sure. So I think for us, it's definitely changed the way we're thinking about certain solutions that accommodate that sort of thing, right? Like the needs for us as a company and as we grow are shifting for sure. So yeah, I'd say it's just opened our eyes and it's reshifted kind of our focus on certain solutions that can help accommodate our scale and support the team operationally while working remote.
Yeah, very good. So, well, Micah, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been very informative. And I hope you have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks.
Take it easy.
Bye.